the wide open NFC South. The Saints are in first place at 5-5. Falcons and Bucs both tied at 4-6. The Saints are the only team in the division with a positive point differential at plus 16. Falcons are minus 28. All four teams in the NFC South have losing streaks as well, or they've at least lost their last game. Falcons have lost 3 straight. Saints lost their last one. Picking the Saints. There's always a couple teams every year, Sam, that are just annoying to pick and predict, and the Saints are in the top 3 as far as most annoying to predict what they're going to do.
Yeah, like last week being relatively straightforward from picks probably had something to do with the fact that the Saints weren't playing.
Yeah, didn't have to deal. Didn't have to deal with the Saints. I was calling for their breakout, and they never happened. And then I said, I'm done with them, and they broke out. And then I said, all right, I'm back on board with the Saints, and they laid an egg.
Who's the quarterback? Is Carr out of – because he was still dealing with the concussion stuff as of like a day ago. He's still in the concussion protocol. Are we still getting
a week and a half in?
Yeah.
Look at the shoulder. Now, this is – ESPN says Derek Carr, shoulder, remains in concussion protocol. So is his shoulder in concussion protocol or his head?
I believe his head is in.
But I think his shoulder also got banged up.
No, it did. But
the
concussion protocol is the relevant part here. Like that, I think is like if you haven't cleared concussion protocol 10 days or whatever this is after the hit.
Yeah, that's not great.
Well, I mean, it doesn't suggest you're playing this week is my biggest point, which means we're getting the Jameis coaster.
Getting Jameis. We also have multi-week injuries from Michael Thomas at receiver and Marshawn Lattimore at the corner. Michael Thomas officially placed on injured reserve Tuesday, so he'll miss at least 4 games. And then Marshawn Lattimore has the dreaded high ankle sprain, which we all know is a turn in. It's going to, quote, take some time. Going to take some time, end quote, from Dennis Allen. So I think they're looking at multiple weeks here for Lattimore, which is common for the high ankle sprain, plus Carr. So there are some injuries here for the Saints. And then Desmond Ritter's making his return for the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah, the revolving door now of Ritter versus Heineke.
Well, this is an interesting one because I'm going to give Arthur Smith some credit here for a minute.
Yeah?
Like early in the season, Patriots media was asking, does Mac Jones need a mental break? Because it kind of looked like he just kind of needed a break. And it's like, well, no, there's games every week. You have to play. So you can't just give the guy a mental break. You got to throw him out there. It kind of feels like the Falcons were giving Ritter a bit of a reset here in the middle of the season. And they threw Heineke out there, see if it sparks things. It doesn't. There's not a huge difference in ability right now between Heineke and Ritter, but there's always the hope that Ritter's younger and he's only X amount of starts into his career, so he could be better. It feels like they gave him a little mental reset here. And when they were asking Arthur Smith a few weeks ago why they doing it, there's reasons. There's reasons why we're doing this. I wonder if that's one of the reasons, and if they're just trying to hammer the turnovers and the ball security out of Ritter, because that's really been the biggest issue. Fumbles, red zone turnovers, those are the ones that are meme worthy for Arthur Smith, looking up into the sky. And if you cut those out, Ritter's been decent, but those have been a pretty significant part of his game this year.
Yeah. I tend to think they just sort of thought that he was playing his way to the bench and Heineke might be better, and let's give that a shot. No, it wasn't. Let's go back to the guy that was there in the first place. I don't know if it was as calculated as we can create this mental reset point for Desmond Ritter and try all over again. I think they just decided, let's give the other guy a shot, and then it didn't work. And they have to go back to where they started because clearly there's no upside to a sort of long-term Taylor Heineke team, but there might be upside to a long-term Desmond Ritter one, so that's your best bet going forward. Either way, it's the same story, right? You have 2 very similar quarterbacks who are capable but limited and make too many mistakes, and that's the one thing that this offense can't do because it's not designed to be, a high-octane, explosive, shootout type of team. It is a slow, methodical, grind-it-out type of offense, which it's tailor-made for a game-managing quarterback, and apparently they don't have either. Neither one of them is a game manager.
The Atlanta defense had been pretty impressive early in the season, but now we're 3 weeks in. They gave up the 4 passing touchdowns to Will Levis in his debut. They gave up a game-winning drive to Josh Dobbs, who just has the playbook on a napkin and just learning it. And then they lost to Kyler Murray in his return on a fourth quarter comeback as well. So they've had some heartbreakers over these last few weeks. They're coming off the bye. I still think Atlanta has a chance. They have some pieces defensively to hang tough. And, as far as New Orleans goes, yeah, it's not just the Saints and predicting what they're going to do. It's the Saints with potentially Jameis Winston under center. So, yeah, good luck predicting this game. It looked like the offense, it looked like they had broken out for 2 straight weeks between the Colts and Bears games, but then 2 weeks ago, also coming off a bye here, the Saints lost to the Vikings in heartbreaking fashion as well against Josh Dobbs. Tried to make that little comeback, and Jameis kept throwing the ball to the defense.
Yeah. No.
So, that's the game. Falcons by 1. Where are you going in this one?
Going with... Where am I going with this?
I don't like this one at all.
No. Let's go with the Falcons.
Yeah, I'll take New Orleans just to mix it up here.
Just to mix it
No,
up.
I don't like New Orleans injuries. I don't know who the quarterback's going to be. Don't have enough information here. They've been outstanding at corner on the outside, but I think Atlanta might be able to run the ball a little bit. But give me New Orleans.
There is a very real chance that Jameis Winston gives them a better chance of winning at the moment than Derek Carr does.
In any given game, that's possible.
Yes. There's equally, with Jameis, that is almost an equal chance that he just goes full Jameis and tosses the ball to the defense 3 times.
The funny thing about Carr versus Jameis is I think the end game is pretty similar. Like, the end of the day, the production ends up pretty similar.
Yeah.
But I think when Jameis goes off the rails, he gets too aggressive. When Carr goes off the rails, he gets too conservative. Right? Like, when off the rails, as in you were down 3 scores and you didn't take any shots down the field. Why is that? It's just interesting watching both of those guys. All right.